We are about 4 months out from Election Day, and in the race for governor, one candidate has raised exponentially more in campaign finances. Stacey Abrams' campaign announced their direct campaign and its associated One Georgia committee has raised $21.8 million during May and June. That includes $18.5 million cash on hand. And that is far more than the combined $6.8 million Republican incumbent Brian Kemp has raised, with $6.4 million cash on hand. Now, both Kemp and Abrams are spending heavily. Abrams has already spent more than $30 million, while Kemp has spent more than $17 million as he defeated former U.S. Senator David Perdue and others in the Republican primary. Joining me now is Todd, moderator of Meet the Press. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, Christy.
Recent numbers show that Democrat gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams has raised $22 million in 2 months, and that is far outpacing her challenger, the incumbent Republican Governor Brian Kemp. What conclusions do you think we can draw from Abrams' fundraising numbers compared to Kemp's?
Look, she's become a national political figure. I think that's the big difference there. I mean, look, in general, both prominent Georgia Democratic nominees, the incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and Stacey Abrams, are both incredible fundraisers, particularly online. They attract a lot of activist donors, and Stacey Abrams has a national fundraising base. And you throw in the fact that Brian Kemp doesn't have the same national profile, and there's the alienation with the Trump wing. Look, he has raised a big chunk of money. Money is not going to decide this race. But it is remarkable when an incumbent governor is likely to get outspent.
Pivoting now, after another mass shooting, talking about in Illinois, and continued protest over the SCOTUS overturn of Roe v. Wade, we saw some here yesterday in Atlanta. It seemed that Democrats appeared to be making some headway with voters on gun control and abortion access, that maybe there was a path to slow down that red wave that many feel is coming in November. But what do you think? Are these just blips? Do you think it's really all about the economy in the fall?
We're going to find out. And look, I think right now, if the election were in the next couple of weeks, it's pretty clear. I think we'd have a pretty even environment. And I think that is the environment we're going to have. I think we're really polarized as a society. And I just think we're headed toward a collision of a far closer set of elections than maybe some people anticipated. And it's because both parties have a really high floor, right? You're just not going to, when you're in an age of polarization, you're just not going to pull away in either direction very far on that front. Look, if the Democrats' two biggest problems are the state of the economy and the state of Joe Biden, and the two are pretty intertwined. But if you have anger, if you look at the issue of guns and abortion, for years, that's what motivated the right to vote in good economic times or bad economic times. Well, they've won at the Supreme Court. And the question's always been, will the left suddenly get as fired up when they're on the losing side of court battles the way the right used to get fired up when they were on the losing side of these court battles? And right now, the polls indicate that that's a yes. And that guns and abortion, which served as motivators on the right for decades to keep elections close, even in bad years for Republicans, may turn out to be the exact same motivator that gets Democratic-based voters out, even in bad times for the Democrats. So I think it is something that we're likely to see. A higher turnout, more polarization, and a lot more closer elections.
All right, Chuck, thanks. Meet the Press airs at 10.